currently looking for 140 South 11th Street. 50 years ago, there was a business at this location. It was called the Adult Book and Cinema. And it had an employee that used to work there. Her name was Patricia Webb. Patricia Webb was 24 years of age at the time that she worked at the adult bookstore. She's described as beautiful, vivacious, very fun-loving, and a champion roller skater. When she was 4 years old, her mother had died, so she was raised by her aunt and uncle. She had attended the University of Nebraska on 2 separate occasions, and both times she dropped out. She just didn't really know what she wanted to do in her life. Just very indecisive when it comes to that. But then again, I mean, honestly, who isn't? You gotta work a job, you gotta pay the bills, and that was the job that she found. So on April 18th, 1974, Patricia was working at this adult book and cinema right here on the corners of 11th and O Street. Now, this address is no longer here, but we're gonna visit as close to the location as possible. So the following morning, the relief worker comes into the bookstore and notices that the place is empty. Patricia is not there. And that is quite concerning. So the person that worked at the bookstore calls the police, and they arrive, and they're doing an inventory because she's nowhere to be seen. And come to find out, $30 is missing from the cash register, and about 50 or so bondage magazines and a calculator. Patricia is disappeared. She hasn't shown up back at home, and nobody knows where she's at. Now, there was an eyewitness reportedly that seen her walking out of the bookstore around 1 a.m. with a black man, not quite sure his age, probably 25 to 35 years old. We don't know if they were friends. We don't know if she went willingly. We don't know if she went against her will. But according to the eyewitness, there didn't appear to be any kind of a struggle or anything of that nature. So the bookstore would have been right about here. Like I said, it no longer exists. It could have been in this storefront. It could have been in that construction site. It was somewhere right here. Now, there was an immediate suspect at first, and it would have been Patricia Webb's ex-husband. When she had just got out of high school, she got married inexplicably. Marriage didn't last very long, so they either got an annulment or a divorce. But of course, his alibi checks out. The fascinating aspect about this case was that Patricia Webb, before her disappearance and during, was working as a drug informant for the local police department here in Lincoln. She's probably responsible for putting quite a number of people away in prison. And at the time of her disappearance, the following day after she was discovered missing, she was supposed to testify in a court case. So now people are thinking because she was what the kids back then called a narc, was this some kind of a revenge kidnapping? Where is Patricia Webb at? And because of her disappearance, they eventually had to drop the charges on 6 different drug felony cases. About 20 miles away south of Lincoln, Nebraska, we're in this farm area right off of 25th Street and Firth Road. About 2 days later after Patricia's disappearance, she was found right here, which used to be an abandoned cattle farm. She was found under a pile of haystacks. She was completely nude except for her wearing a jacket, and she had been shot about 6 times with 2 different guns. They're saying that it was probably a Mossberg rifle and some kind of a .22 caliber small firearm. Going back previously to what I said about her being found nude and only wearing a jacket, she was wearing a jacket that was distributed by a business called Gooch's Feed Store. 143 of these jackets were made and given out. I believe they were given out to either employees of this business, employees' friends, or family. So whoever the murderer was or is either worked for this business, they had a close associate or a family member that worked for this business, or quite possibly they were a homeless person and somebody just gave them the jacket, or they got it from a thrift store. I mean, we really don't know. I don't believe really any DNA was found. She was not raped. That was found out during the autopsy. The only thing that came up in the autopsy were the bullet wounds that she received, which were 6 from the 22 caliber and 25 caliber guns. I don't know why somebody would shoot her with different guns. That I don't know. I don't know if this was because she was a police informant. This could have been somebody that was going to the bookstore and they were just a sexual deviant and they targeted her. I mean, really, there's not a whole lot of evidence. It's, you know, these cases that really draw me to them are the ones that just aren't really talked about anymore. I mean, I know there's a lot of people on social media that will talk about true crime, but not too many of them talk about unsolved murders, especially going to the location, which is just something that has always fascinated me as a kid, just watching America's Most Wanted or Unsolved Mysteries or Missing Reward or whatever, and just me wondering what these places looked like. 24 years old, just working a regular job, and your life is violently taken away from you. And this is the final resting place of Patricia Webb. She's buried next to her aunt and uncle. If anybody has any information on the unsolved murder of Patricia Webb, please contact the Nebraska Missing Persons Hotline. Their number 877-441-5678, 877-441-5678. You can also send your tip anonymously via email at nefusioncenter@nebraska.gov, nefusioncenter@nebraska.gov. Lamont at large, I'm signing out. On to the next story. I hope to see you there. Peace out.